Hello everyone, my name is Strom. I am back with another video today on mob to human relations. This time we are meeting the Ravager. He's just so misunderstood and taking out his aggression. So we're gonna try and make friends with one today. As you can see, I have a Ravager here behind me, stuck in a cage. As long as I don't go in there, it's gonna be perfectly fine. We're gonna be safe. So just don't go in. Yeah, don't walk backwards. So let's get into it. As you can see there, Ravagers actually have quite the extended range on them because they can actually stick their heads out, and their attack actually goes beyond their hitbox. So if I look at the hitbox here now, we can see his hitbox is staying within inside that cage, but if I was to get too close to him when he can see me through those bars, he's going to hit me again. The way to stop that, though, is to just break his line of sight with us. And again, even though we, the player, can see through iron bars, mobs cannot aggro through the iron bars. So if I place iron bars there, I can come right here and I can stand right up to him and look him in the face and say, hey, we need to work on our relations. Ravagers can be a little bit more troublesome to deal with than some of the other mobs that we've had on our list. So this is something you're definitely going to want to make sure that you're careful with. Make sure you get ironed up. Make sure you have your spawn points set. This one is going to be a little bit more risky. However, we're going to go through a method that if you execute properly, you will not take any damage from to get him into this cage. Now, one of the methods I use to get Buddy in his cage here is something I haven't actually covered before, and that's called the activator rail. Okay, so we're going to step over here. We're going to look at this. This is a rail setup where I have what's called a detector rail and an activator rail. So the detector rail just looks to see, is there a minecart on top of me? If yes, send out a redstone signal. It will send it in all four directions and up and down. And that includes powering this rail next to it. And this activator rail, when it's powered, is going to eject anything that's in that minecart. So if I put a minecart down here and I sit in it and I roll over this, what's going to happen is I'm going to get pushed out of that minecart once I hit that activator rail. Or it could be another mob. So we're going to use that activator rail to minecart him over to the cage and then kick him out of the minecart so that he's now safely inside of that room. Now, Ravagers do not spawn naturally within the world. The only time that a Ravager will spawn is during a village raid. So in order to get a Ravager to spawn, we first need to start a raid. I'm just going to briefly cover how we can do that if you don't have a village around. Again, this is not going to be a video on raid mechanics, but we're just going to talk about how we can get a Ravager from a raid. So this guy right here, he is the worst. He's just the worst. But this is a pillager captain, more commonly referred to in the community as a banner guy. This is how we're actually going to be able to start a raid. So by killing one of these guys, and let me just go into survival here to do it, we are going to get the bad omen effect. So there are two ways that you can find these banner carrying pillagers. One of them is at a pillager tower, and having them spawn around here, there is a random chance that one of them will spawn with a banner. Or you can find a patrol of pillagers that will always have at least one banner guy in it wandering around the world. However, your best method, if you're going to want to try and do this in a reliable method, is to actually use the pillager tower to spawn a banner guy. Before we get the bad omen, though, we're going to actually want to make sure that we have something set up that we can catch those Ravagers, okay? If Ravagers walk over a minecart, we will be able to catch them inside that minecart. Now, when pillagers spawn at a raid, they will spawn and be attracted to a POI or point of interest inside the village. So what we want to do is we want to create our own village that controls where they're going to go to. As you see down here in this pit, I have a bed and I have a composter. So I have a bed and a job site. It doesn't have to be a composter, it can be any job site. Once we get a villager in here, and if you're interested in how to move villagers, you can look at my other YouTube video on the villagers. But we can actually create a village by having this guy down in this hole with his bed and his job site. So now this is a village. If we place glass on top of there, this is now a center of a village that we can walk on. So when a raid spawns at this location, all the pillagers and the ravagers are going to be attracted to this spot. So what we're going to do is we're just going to build a temporary structure to go around this section with one open side, so they have to come through that open side. Now when the pillagers come at us, they only have this one side that they can come through. So we need to have a controlled way to actually have minecarts going across here. Now, one thing you want to remember is with minecarts, whenever they hit a solid block and they're powered, they then turn back around. So we're going to have minecarts that go back and forth right over here. However, glass is going to prevent that ravager from suffocating in the block. Remember how big his hitbox was? If we don't have some glass up here, when he hits that with the minecart, he's going to hit solid blocks here and start suffocating. And eventually, as he goes back and forth, he's going to end up dying. So I'm just going to put a couple of glass blocks there, because when he's inside of a glass block, he won't suffocate. Now we're going to get our rails. We're going to need powered rails for this. All the way across. Okay. And I prefer to use a lever in this situation. Turn on that lever and now that's powered. Once we take our minecarts and put them on there, they're just going to go back and forth. And we can even add another one in there so we can catch more. And now as the pillagers come, they're going to want to come to us, come to here, and they're going to get stuck in there. I'm just going to then also put up a wall right in front of me here that I can see through, but they won't be able to see me through. So this is going to catch the pillagers that want to come towards that village center. So now we need to actually start a raid, and then the raid is going to commence over this location. They're going to spawn around here and walk in. What we're going to see is those pillagers, as they walk up to these minecarts, are going to get stuck in a minecart and trapped in there. So this is where we'd have our bow. We'd peek out from the side, kill all of them until we get away with a ravager and get a ravager in one of these carts. Another thing you want to make sure you have ready before all this is your name tag. Okay, so we're going to slap that down, put our name tag. We're going to name him Buddy. And so I have my name tag ready to go so that I can name that ravager. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run over that tower, get Bad Omen, start a raid. I'm going to gear myself up before I do this, just to show that I'm going to do this in survival mode, and we'll get him trapped in that minecart. Now we can see off in the distance we have our first ravager, so we're gonna want him to come into these minecarts. And now we have him trapped. So he's now stuck in there. We want to make sure that we clear out the rest of this wave. And make sure you don't hit him. So that the only thing left in this wave is just this ravager. Now, as you can see, our buddy is here in the minecart. He is safe. He took a little bit of damage throughout the fight, but he'll be fine. He has plenty of health up there. First thing we're going to want to do is slap our name tag on him. As you may see, I've already kind of done that there, but I'm going to show you here. If you just dig a hole down, give yourself a little peeky point, and hit him with that name tag. Boom, he's there. Okay, so now he's named. So we can actually now prepare to get him to our base. As you can see, unfortunately, the Ravager trap is over there, and our base is all the way over here. So what we need to do is we need to make a railway that goes all the way from the Ravager trap to our base. And I'm just going to do that real quick here. This is obviously not a tutorial on the most efficient railway systems. I just set this up so we could get him over here. But once we get over to his cage, what we want to do is we want to break open this middle bottom bar and put down another couple of powered rails. Okay. And then we want to put down our detector rail. And behind that, we want to put our activator rail. Okay. So now he's going to slide right in the middle there. He's going to go through these bars without taking any suffocation damage. He's going to hit that detector rail, which is going to power that activator rail, which is going to kick him out. The reason why we don't put the detector rail and activator rail right here is because as soon as he hits that, right here, this line, he is going to pop out of the minecart. And he could pop out right in the middle of this wall and then be able to run out and grab us. So that's why we've sent this in just a little bit further. Now I'm ready to transport him via the rails to his storage cage. Pen, safety pen. Yeah. So first thing I want to do is I want to end the raid, okay? Otherwise, if I remove him, another wave of this is going to start when I come back, and we don't want that. So we can just do a little bit of that, maybe that. Okay, yep, that'll take care of it. So as we can see up at the top, we now have raid defeat. So we're not going to spawn any more waves, but he's still around. Okay. Next thing we need to do is we need to actually connect up these railway systems. Yeah, you're very proud of yourself. We need to connect up these railway systems, so instead of just going back and forth, he's going to fly out the other side. Okay. So the way I prefer to do this is to break this block behind, put a piston here with an airspace in between. We're going to put down our powered rail right there. And when we actually activate this, that's going to push this block out of the way. It's going to push this rail into the railway system and connect it and send it off flying. I'm just going to quickly break these mine carts so we just have the one mine cart on the track. I'm going to get my own mine cart, and once again, I'm going to go into survival to show that we can do this. Now, as soon as we send him off, we want to make sure that we get on that rail and follow behind him. Because if he goes into unloaded chunks, and as you can see, we don't have our base loaded over there, this minecart is going to stop. And then in order to get him to start up again, you're going to need to push him while holding a shield. It's a whole thing. Don't do it. Just be ready to follow right behind him. Again, when you get to the other side, though, make sure you're ready to get out of the minecart so you don't end up in the cage with him, because that activator rail will kick you out as well in the middle of his cage. I'm going to switch over to survival. And we're going to push this lever, drop the minecart, get in the minecart, and go with him. We're now approaching that cage, so the end of the railway system is already loaded. So I can get out of this minecart at any time and be absolutely fine. He's still going to go into there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quick go back into creative so that we can see him go in. Boom. And now he's popped out of the minecart. And he's locked up there. Now all we would do is we would break that minecart through there. Break that, break that, break that, break that. And then plunk down that. And we now have our ravager named Buddy trapped inside his cage. Safety pen. Safety pen. And that's how you can have your own pet ravager in your survival world. He's in here. He's not gonna calm down. We still need to work on that mob to human relations. He's still growling at me. He wants me, but you know, maybe we just maybe by now he's calmed down. Let's just find. It's just nope. Okay, so maybe don't go in there. But thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope this was helpful for you if you actually wanted to trap a ravager, or if you had seen someone else trap a ravager and wondering how they did it. That's going to be all for me today. Have a good one. Bye.